Nazi-supporting extremists have been jailed for a combined 29 years at Sheffield Crown Court for planning terror attacks on synagogues and mosques. The men, who'd only met up online, had collected 200 weapons between them, including machetes.
Right, Jesus. Guys, bear with me. We're absolutely all over the gaff at the minute. Let's start again, shall we? Let's start again. Actually, let's just move that just there. Let's just start. Can you hear me, Kitty?
I can hear you, my darling.
You can hear me. What is up, good people? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. I am joined with the lovely Kitty. Together, we are the Brudsy and Kitty Show. Kitty, how are you today?
I'm good. Happy Monday, everybody. Twist your melons.
Happy Monday. Twist your melons. Kitty, what's going on? What's going on today? Yeah, go.
Yeah, let's just a quick one, just to say that I think we both agree that we're sending our condolences to Mr. Stuart Pearce.
Oh yes.
Who has just lost his son. You know, one of England's finest left backs, I think we can definitely say. So, you know, condolences there.
Indeed, condolences to Stuart Pearce. Very sad news, losing your son. No one should have to lose. No one should have to. What's going on?
Just turn it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I think it's because I've switched audio and we've got a whole load of other issues today. We're getting attacked by the Matrix, I think. That's what's happening today.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
We're getting attacked by the Matrix. What's going on in the world of craziness today?
Well, I think we've got a war within a war, haven't we?
Oh, we're at war. Left versus right. I think that's what we're going with today.
And I think there are extremists on both sides, and yet there's people like you and I in the middle that are just sort of, what on earth is going on? There are some absolutely evil people, and I'm going to say on both sides.
Absolute evil.
They both have agendas, and they're not bothered about who they're steamrolling. But I think the scary thing is the story we're going to cover today. And that is neo-Nazis within this country.
Apparent patriots as well. Do you think you can be a patriot and a Nazi? That's the question I want to know.
No, I don't think you can. Because a patriot was somebody whose family went to war and fought on the beaches and literally fought for this country to be, you know, this country. Otherwise, we'd have always speaking German. And what always shocks me is these neo-Nazis within the UK are giving it all the moustache man's salute, when it was all our grandfathers that fought to make sure that we weren't having to do that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I see. For me, that's something that's always confused me. You see these guys and they're talking about, oh yeah, we're patriots, and then you see them in their you catch them with doing their Nazi salutes and doing all their craziness. I'm just like, I want to show them the Save It Private Ryan video, just when our soldiers get out the boats and then the Nazis start drilling them down and their heads start getting blown off. Like, that's actually what I wanted to start showing them. But I don't think there's any I don't think you can rationalize with these people. But, you know, we talk about radicalization, you know, it's a real thing. You know, I've been watching a lot of documentaries and, like, especially in America, talking about the right to protect hate speech. Like, you know, for me, I just don't get that. Like, you know, who fights for the right to keep hate speech? Let's grab the video really quickly and let's see our first video, which is the story today.
Three Nazi-supporting extremists have been jailed for a combined 29 years at Sheffield Crown Court for planning terror attacks on synagogues and mosques. The men, who'd only met up online, had collected 200 weapons between them, including machetes, swords and crossbows. Our North of England reporter Jonathan Brown was in court today. Jonathan, take us through the details.
Well, the judge in this case said that this was a group of far-right extremists who'd never even actually met each other in person, but they had each spent years sharing and posting racist views and videos online while amassing an arsenal of more than 200 weapons between them. And in January last year, the judge said that their talk turned to action. That's when Brogan Stewart, who you should be able to see on the left of this picture, set up a group called Einsatz 14. That's a name that references Nazi death squads. He recruited the other defendants, Christopher Ringrose and Marco Pizzetto, as armourers, encouraging them to acquire weapons and explosives. Ringrose even used a 3D printer at home to...
I don't think I should even show that part because I think that might create
Yeah,
create
maybe, yeah,
that
maybe.
that might create, because I know you were quite interested to how on earth you were able to do it with a 3D printer, but yeah, it might create problems.
Yeah, I totally agree. Maybe we won't encourage that
Yeah.
sort of behaviour
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the story speaks for itself. This is 3 lonely, horrible, vile people that actually believe that the Nazis were the answer, that they were the answer to all our problems, and we wouldn't have half the problems that we had if the Nazis had got into power. Obviously, I just don't understand where people's heads are. Like I've said, our grandfathers fought for this country to be the great country, the country that it is. You know, we stopped the mustache man going anywhere because we had to. And now, like you say, there's people on the streets claiming to be patriots. An arsenal of 200 weapons. 200 weapons. And then they've gone into a synagogue.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Kitty. Guys, if you do want to take part in this show, go to Brudsy Entertainment on YouTube, and there is a link where you can join in and take part. I can't accept any sort of chats on any calls or in guests on TikTok. But sorry, Kitty. Three men,
you know, it's
three
the Jewish
men
men
plotting.
and
Yeah.
attacking a Jewish synagogue. It's just appalling. It's disgusting. I'm so upset because there are people like myself and yourself, really, that I consider myself a patriot. I consider myself, I love this country. I want this country to prosper. And I would imagine that that's what you feel. But then you've got people that claim to be a patriot and behave this way. And then, like you say, we're all tarred with the same brush. Like people that, when they found out I went to that rally, tarred me with the brush of these guys. And I'm not. I couldn't think of anything worse than doing that sort of salute.
Not gonna lie, I think we owe the mustache man an apology. Okay. And
Okay.
we're getting a lot of this at the minute because obviously there's massive infighting between you know, Muslims and Jews at the minute. You know, it's a very prominent sort of ongoing sort of battle at the minute that we're sort of going through with that, and people are sort of, I've seen people on, you know, I've seen Muslim men, you know, like saying exactly the same sort of thing as what this person's just put there, like, you know, there's certainly been, like, in the last I would say for me anyway, last 6 months, I've certainly noticed a lot of sort of like anti sort of Jew kind of content, kind of stuff, like people coming up with things like, you know, things like just like what this person has said. I'm not sure that's the answer. Like, you know, the Holocaust. Like, you know, I'm not sure that's the right kind of thing to go with. Like, to be honest with you, like, you know, just I feel like people ultimately need to just try and, you know, just try and get on. Like, you know, people just need to try and get on. We all need to try and work together. Stop letting each other all be divided. Because the small hats support. Yeah. But I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's enough. Someone's put it's because of the small hats support the genocide in Palestine and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that's the right way to go. Sort of like, you know. And you have to bear in mind, you know, just like the Iraq War that happened, you know, when we went to war, millions of English patriots took to the streets and tried to protest against going to the war. Like, no one's in charge. Like, the people at the top, they make the decisions. Like, you know, 1 million people went to London and protested against the Iraq war. They did not want to go. But what happened was we went anyway. And then Tony Blair's on telly talking about freaking, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Whoops.
You know, 500,000. Can we even fathom that? 500,000 people dead at Tony Blair's mistake, and he's got the audacity to say that he wants to take some sort of role in government in Palestine. I think that's nuts.
I think
Absolutely
he's
nuts.
tried as a war criminal, personally. I think he's a war criminal. I genuinely think he's a war criminal. He took us into a war on a lie. A lie that he fabricated. And again, can I point out to all these people that, you know, are calling for the mustache man rules? You know these IDs that you all don't want? That's Tony Blair's son that's dealing with that.
Yeah.
He's running the company. He's running the company that is rolling out the IDs.
Yeah.
This is all about backhanders and pats
Yeah.
on the back and money,
Yeah.
as every war is always going to be.
Yeah.
But you know, this country is not great. We're a laughing stock right now, and it's because of things like this, the left and the right, that are literally tearing this country straight down the middle. And then, like you said, there's people like you and I, and then probably a vast majority that are sitting there going, "What on earth is going on? How do we stop this? How do we bring this country back together?" The politicians don't give a toss.
Yeah, no, they want us all. The politicians want us all fighting and divided, and you know, people are at home, like, you know, just getting radicalized. Like, these guys had never met each other. The guys that we're talking about that have been jailed for a combined of 30 years, planning to plot attacks against mosques and synagogues. You know, both, like, you know, so Jews
Yeah, I was
and
going to say they're not bothered.
Jews
They're not
and
bothered who it
Muslims.
is. They just don't want you in their country.
Jews and Muslims. They were planning all these attacks against them, and thank God that, you know, they were found with all these weapons. And, you know, what's quite interesting when I've been looking at the comments is that there's so much support for these guys. There's so much support. And these guys have all got English flags as their sort of, like, pictures, profile pictures and stuff. And they're like, oh, well, you know, you just, some of the stuff that they roll out with it, like, you know, there's people have allowed hate to drive their brains to a spot where they're radicalized enough to go and do some crazy stuff like terrorism. Like, you know, they're literally getting like, you know, so then it begs the question when you put it out there, like, you know, do we need to clamp down harder on free speech, so to speak? Like, not like, you know, to be able to go on X and say some of the spout stuff that Gary Neville was talking about, you know, does it have any benefit? Is there any benefit to society? Causes it sowing division, fear, and bigotry? Is there any benefit to that at all?
I don't want free speech if it involves hate speech. I don't. I'd rather people be monitored because it's. But then, also, there's the other side of it. If they've got free speech, you now know who they are and where they are.
That's a very good point, and that's what that's what they're doing anyway. Like, I've seen, like, you know, these thank you, Chloe. These groups, like, you know, a lot of them are infiltrated by undercover police officers because they are just all online. So I suppose that's one good way, but I don't think you can mass organize on social media. Like, you know, on paper, like, you know, I don't think you can, like, when you've got a massive platform on X. That's mass organization. You can jump in these guys are all in Telegram groups and stuff. So maybe there'll be a benefit of getting rid of some of this. I honestly think that if Elon Musk keeps butting his nose in, the X will get banned in the UK anyway. I think that's just and to be honest with you, rightly so, because I don't think that we need the sort of division that we're seeing in America. Thank God it's not got to that stage at the minute. But with Nigel Farage and Reform, I don't know where it goes from there.
I definitely don't want that man anywhere near the government. He's as my dad would say, is bent as a 9-bob note.
Yeah. What I say to sort of, like, you know, because we know not everyone on the far right is racist. We know that, but we know that the racists are going to be voting for Nigel Farage and Reform. We know that's a given. Like, you know, so what I would say to you guys is make these guys earn their damn vote. Like, you know, make them earn your vote. Don't just be like, yeah, get rid of the immigrants and that's it. Yeah, that's our man. Like, you know, literally.
Ask the questions as well. Where
Thank you,
does
Chloe.
it stop? Because all you guys that are mostly, you know, like on the far right, ask the question. Where does it stop? Where does immigration stop? Because myself, I'm from an immigrant family that came over in 1940, right? You're from an immigrant family that probably came over a similar time. Where does it stop? Because most of these patriots have probably got mixed race grandchildren.
Yep. Well, interesting little debate at the minute. There is a creator that's he's somewhat blowing up on TikTok at the minute. He's a young boy, and he's going with I'm a nationalist, I'm a true British nationalist, and he's trying to go down the lines of you've got to be genetically sort of like bonded to the country, like your family have got to have lived here for years and years. You've got to be able to trace the ancestor DNA to sort of be called a Brit, and what was quite interesting is that I saw one of his debates the other day, and he was talking, and he was saying to someone, "No, you're not." Basically saying black people can't be English and stuff like that. And he was saying to them, "No, you can't be because you've got to be able to trace it back to the ancestors." And then something interesting sort of occurred into my head, and I was like, "Do you know what happens when people when the Brits went around colonizing places? Do you know what happened? What they did? One of the first thing they done, they found lovely black women." And they slept with them. So you know what happens when you sleep with women and you create babies?
Yeah.
Guess what? That your uncle becomes my uncle as well.
Yeah.
So if you actually track the DNA of pretty much anyone, it will show that everyone will have a piece of everything. I think I'm 15% European. 1% Irish, 7% Scottish, no, 7% Italian, and 5% British, So there you go. There we have it. There's my DNA.
You're sorted.
I'm sorted. I'm in. But,
You're sorted for that 5%.
Yeah,
I would
literally.
do you know what? That's the sort of person I would like to do an ancestry genetic test on.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'd say, right, okay then, I'm going to call you out on this. I want to see your DNA. I want to see genetically what you're made up of. For a start, you'll be European at the possibly Danish. The Vikings came over, possibly Roman. You've got to be very careful when you're demanding these things, because it only takes one person to get a piece of your chewing gum or something like that and do a DNA test, and boom, we could find things out about you. Like you say, there could be Jamaican in there. There could be all
and
sorts.
a lot of people are very surprised to see that. A lot of people are you have to bear in mind when you have when you have black in you, it takes 17 generations to get that out. No, 16 to get that out of you. 16 generations to get that out of you. So you could go back, you probably find that you've got like a half black sort of great grandparent or something.
I didn't realise how Chinese I looked until I was in the presence of my family that are Chinese, and we all look very, very we all look very similar, and I genuinely thought that I didn't my features weren't that strong until I saw everybody else, and then it hit me, wow, I really, really am, and like you say, I've always wanted to do a genetic test. I can't at the moment for other reasons, but I will sort of probably in the next 20 years probably do it, because I want to know where we come from. Okay. But people like this on the internet, that I'd love to call them out and say, come on then, do a test.
I think with these guys, ultimately, the elephant in the room, people are saying, England don't look like England used to look for them when they were growing up, because of all the black and brown faces that are showing up, and predominantly the mass sort of growth of the Asian community in areas where all the white people have left those areas, so that's the only way they become 50% Asian, and ultimately, I think leaving the areas, and no, I want to say this. Their demographic is growing at a rate of, I think it's 8% or 10%, and black and white are growing at 2%. Ultimately, they are having babies. If you don't have babies, it doesn't matter if reform get in. There are people here 6, 7 generation English that have been born in this country. They're not going anywhere. They've probably been there longer than most people moan about it. Culturally, they have their religion. And they believe in having, some believe in having multiple wives and having loads of children. Until you start having children, nothing is going to, and bear in mind, and what's hurting as well is, I think a lot of men are saying this online, is that, some white women are saying that they don't even want to they don't even want to be with white men either. That's a very common thing at the minute. And I think this upsets them to another level as well. Like, you know, I think that really does upset them. Like, you know, because men aren't getting lucky anymore. Like, you know, it's only the top tier men that is getting lucky and being able to procreate with women and stuff. Like, you know, because women are being,
Yeah.
you know, women have got their sort of
I
standards.
think as well with the Asian community and what a lot of people don't understand is they're going on about them procreating all these children, but they're paying for them as well. A lot of, you know, like reform people will turn around and go, oh, they're all on benefits and they're taking all our benefits. Firstly, there's a 3-child cap on benefits. Secondly, you will find that the Asian community look after their own. It's very, very, you know, unusual for them to be on benefits. So when people are saying, you know, like these on the far right, they're bleeding this country dry. It's not them that's bleeding the country dry, love.
No, it's the it's the what is it? Kemi Bowden said, was it 7 million or something people not working or something in this country?
6.5 million, wasn't it?
Six
Not
and a-
working.
6.5 million people not working, just sitting at home chilling. Like, you know, young people as well, like working age people, just saying, you know what, I can't deal with this work life. Like, you know, I'm just gonna stay at home. Like, you know, and
Yeah,
you know,
I've got depression or I've got a bad back, and there's nothing people can do to prove it. You know,
yeah.
and like you said, that they're swinging the lead. They really are swinging the lead when there are genuine people that it is so hard to get the benefits that they need. It's ridiculous. And then like you say, you've got generational people that are, why should we go to work? And you will find, like I say, that it's not the Asian community. Now I don't want any more illegal immigrants in this country. I will be quite honest with you. I don't want illegal immigrants. That's what I don't want. I've got nothing against the Asian community, the black community. We've all got a place in this country, and I absolutely love the fact that we have this. We are a multicultural country. I love that fact. I love the fact that you have the freedom to worship wherever you want, however you want. What I don't like is the fact that there are some people that will try and ram that down your throat and make you, you know, like you say, there are some people that have come over and they're not integrating correctly. And I think that's what we've got to learn people
Dungeon
to do.
Master, all foreigners out. What do you class as foreigner, mate? What classes as a foreigner?
I'm just going to go shut these doors. Sorry, 1 second.
No worries. What classes as a foreigner?
If they can verify to me what you class as a foreigner.
What is a foreigner, and why do you want them all out?
Because one, they bring a lot of money into the country, don't they?
Yeah, I think evangelists shouting about the Bible in the city centre, ramming it down everyone's throat. Spit it out. We're waiting for Dungeon Master to sort of tell us.
Oh, okay. I mean, I have to admit, since we went to that rally, I've been going towards my faith a lot more.
That's good, and I think everyone. That's one of the massive things that everyone is losing out in this country. People aren't going to church. How many people at that rally do you reckon go to church?
No, I would say there's probably a very small percentage.
And
very small. You know, weddings and funerals, probably.
Yeah. And this is it, because, you know, when I listen, I try to listen to people. I do try and listen to people because I want to try and hear what they have to say. But when they talk about Christian values and stuff like that, I'm really, really listening to try and find out what they mean by it. But most of the time, it looks like what they're saying is just white. You just have to be white, and that's it. And if that's your belief system, then it's not going to stand. It doesn't stand for nothing. You just got to be white. That's it. Then you're a true patriot. Like, you know, you put an English cap on, and that makes you a patriot. Like, you know.
So what about? I mean, we know that like the Pentecostal, it's based on a Christian belief, really, isn't it? That a lot of these faiths are based on a Christian belief. Don't forget, when we went over and colonized everybody, we took with us our Christian faith. And so there are a lot of countries out there.
That's a myth. That's a lot. That's something that people don't understand. People think a lot of people are saying this is a Christian country and it's our religion. Like, Christianity didn't actually come from this country. Like, you know, we took it from other people's countries. Like, it's more like, you know, like around the Palestine sort of area. To be fair, like, you know, that it's not. It's like Christianity was in Africa and other continents way before it was in Europe. Like, and that's something that not a lot of people even know. To be fair,
Well,
but,
I didn't know that, but I do know that when we finally got it and we then took it all over the country, the world, colonizing everybody and baptizing them into the Christian faith as much as possible. Thanks to King Henry.
Yeah, I think
We're all...
where conquering starts, and then books start getting rewritten and stuff like that. Like, history is written by the conquerors, like, as they say. But yeah, let's go on to something. Actually, as we're talking about Patriots, we'll just quickly touch on. Did you see the Keir? I don't know if it was Keir Starmer or it was Sadiq Khan. One of them banned the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from coming over to play Aston Villa in the Europa League, and obviously they're sort of like they're quite a rowdy bunch. They're a Jewish sort of team, sort of, and I think the fear was that it was going to kick off in violence and stuff, and yeah. So Tommy, this is Tommy, by the way. No, not Tommy. This is Tommy, and like Tommy calls himself a patriot, and he's wearing a Maccabi Tel Aviv shirt, and I'm like, if especially being a football man yourself, like for me, I'm not a patriot, but for me, when an English team plays anyone, I'm going to support that English team. Like, unless it's like a Barcelona or a Real Madrid, but Maccabi Tel Aviv, like, I mean, no one knows who they are really anyway, like, to be honest with you. Like, but Tommy was like, yeah, I'm going to
for me, it's sacrilege anyway. It's just sacrilege. I've had men that have messaged me and they're like, I'll pay you so much if you wear this shirt. And I'm like, no. No, it's never going to happen. I'm red till I'm dead. Sorry, love. That's how it is. And it's just...
Football's not about patriotism. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, but, a lot of... I would say if you spoke to the average patriot, like, I don't know what you want to call a patriot anyway, but the average sort of British man would probably say football's a massive part of it. And for Tommy to say to go on about English patriotism and all this sort of stuff, and then say, oh yeah, I'm supporting Maccabi Tel Aviv versus a British club, like, that doesn't make no sense to me. But their recent game got pulled off due to violence and stuff. They had a big game in their country and they got called off due to violence. Their fans really kicked off or something crazy. But
they're awesome, absolute.
So I think
heavies,
what they were what the kind of things that they were chanting as well, they wouldn't have made it in Birmingham. Like, the Birmingham brothers would have dealt with them horrible. Like, it would have been. So I think it was a good decision by Sadiq Khan or Keir Starmer, whoever made that decision.
I think the Zulus would have seen them off, don't you?
No, honestly, it would have been really bad. It would have been if those Maccabi Tel Aviv fans would have gone there and they would have started chanting the stuff that they've been chanting. I can't even repeat the stuff that they were saying. Like, it would have been real bad.
Was it you?
What exactly? But trust me, what would you saw what happened in Birmingham when the riots were happening? Like, the very next day, the Muslim Brothers were out in force and ready. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think those Tel Aviv fans would have been able to go walking down the street shouting "death to this" and "we're going to do this to your women" and "we're going to kill"? Like, nah, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been horrible. It would have gone horrible. So the government were probably right to intervene.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, what we don't want is nothing. Do you know what I'm worried about? It will take something very small to spark this country off right now, the way it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way that the government are thinking. We just don't want to pour oil on the fire, on the fire, because it can go at any minute. I think most of us are waiting for something. I mean, not me, but
I think that, but that's the fear mongering that's out there that's done that to everyone, to where we think that something like I think if something crazy is going to happen, it'll be something that the government's up to. Personally, like something that they're up to, like another COVID or something like that, but people are like, you know, if you're living your best life and you're happy and you're doing well in life, I don't think these kind of people are thinking like that. But there are people out there that are unhappy in their lives and they want to blame anyone else for it, their problems, and you know, and that's where we're going with that.
Yeah, and I
Nazi
think
supporting
that's
extremists have
always
been
been the
jailed for.
thing, isn't it? They've always had to have someone to hate, and now it's immigration and the illegal immigrants, and unfortunately the illegal immigrants aren't helping, are they? They're not helping matters at all by playing straight into their hands, and sort of, you know, one in however many is a wrong one,
Yeah.
you know, raping women and you know, hurting children. That it's not cricket, is it? But was it you that sent me the video of the two people debating the football chants in the 70s? And
I think you sent it to me, didn't you?
one of us
Yeah.
did.
I think you said it to me.
This is how organised we are. We just send videos back and forth to talk about. But there was, I think it was GB News,
Yeah.
where there was a guy and he was talking about how immigration and the lads on the terraces aren't as bad as they were in the 70s.
Yeah.
And that woman that I cannot stand that sometimes goes on Piers Morgan, she was like ready and poised to go, because she was saying the same, that it might not be on the terraces anymore, but it's certainly online. And again, we come back to this: is it free speech or is it hate speech? And I'm in agreement with you that eventually Elon Musk is going to poke so much that they're going to take X off us.
Yeah, they would X is going to go for sure, because it just doesn't make no sense. If you're like, why would you allow sort of like if you do go on X, like I do frequently go on there and just sort of keep an eye on what what those patriots are up to. Like, you know, you just got to keep one eye on them, see what's going on, and they are literally just fear mongering. You know, just, oh man. Just
race baiting as well.
Race
There's a lot of
baiting, dog whistling. It's all of that. Like literally, like it's just like it's almost like textbook. It's literally anything a black, Asian person of color does, they post it on there and they're like, look what they done, la la la, and then you go to the comments and it's all the worst.
Yeah,
kind of things
nobody
you
has
think
said
of.
anything about these neo-Nazis, have they? They've not said, you know what? We're calling them out and we're saying to you that we don't want any part of that, and that is nothing to do with us, which is what I would be doing if I was part of a group that was very, very similar, you know, like the likes of TR. I'd be standing up and saying, by the way, we don't stand with these. These are just three nutters that have come together on X.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But not one has stood by, and I think that's the difference, isn't it? Just 1 minute, sorry. Alexa, can you turn the volume down in Mia's room by 2? Wow. And so that, to me, that would be perfect politics, to turn around and say, yes, this has happened, but we don't. I mean, I know Tommy has made a statement about the young girl that was raped, and was told it was because she was Muslim or she was of colour. Can you remember? I know he's made a statement and he said, you know, I want no part of this. This is nothing to do with me, and I don't, you know, this is wrong. But I think people have got to start calling this sort of behaviour out as well. I think you've got to turn around and say, we don't want this behaviour. You are not representing the people by doing this. Because you didn't do that in my name. You didn't run into a synagogue and attack people in my name. Yeah. Because I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if we really want to do something, it's the elites though. The elites won't allow us to do lovely things. Like, you know, in theory, why are we wasting billions, trillions on nuclear bombs and all these sort of things? We could be investing that money in making the world a better place. The sad thing is, you know, the countries in Africa and stuff, like, they don't want them to be settled. If they're settled and they get their stuff together, you know, they've got all the natural minerals and stuff like that. You know, they will destroy, like, eventually they will destroy the dollar, like, you know, and that's not something that's going to be good for the, like, you know, for our economy, especially, like, you know, but America as well. But I think eventually like we're gonna have to change our ways. Like, you know, we can't keep doing this foul stuff. Like, you know, the stuff that's going on in Nigeria, like people being starved, people being massacred and stuff. Like, you know, I think, you know, these are small proxies. These are small proxies doing things to destabilize the country. Unfortunately, that's what I
I
think.
mean, what I heard about Nigeria just recently is the genocide of Christians.
Christians, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked into it too much. Do you know any more about
Yeah,
it?
well, it's obviously I'm assuming it's Boko Haram, which is like which is a prescribed terrorist group, like quite an extreme Muslim group, I believe. But you know, where do they get their weapons from? Who arms them? Who funds
Exactly.
them? Who funds them?
Exactly. You know, this
And
again,
people,
we can't feed children, but we can afford weapons. What is going off in the world?
because it's savage. Like, you know, it's savage. They will, if there's gold, and we know there is all gold, all sorts of minerals and stuff like that. They don't, you know, like, just look what's going on in Ukraine and Russia right now. These are two apparent civilized countries in Europe blowing the hell out of each other. 5,000 people on either side dying every single week in the trenches. Like, you know, why is that happening? Because, you know, Zelensky for some reason thinks he can win, and he's asking Donald Trump and asking us for these you know, swap the drones for, like, you know, I think it's Tomahawk missiles that can be fired straight into Russia. Have you frozen? No, you're not. You're just looking at
It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's just I've there's something dodgy about Zelensky. I just
I mean,
feel
come on, man. You just look at the guy. The guy's no way fit to lead a country. Like, how could, like, you know, just how can you lead a country and let it get like, why would you, like, you can't fight Russia? Is like, you know, unfortunately, there's no magical world where you can fight Russia. No one can. Like, you know, if we tried to fight Russia, can you imagine the outcry if we got into some sort of conflict with Russia and it got to a point where our young boys were in the trenches, 5,000 of us dying every single week. Like, you know, we ain't seen those numbers since World War II. Like, you know, just that ain't ever happening. Like, you know, no one's getting involved in that sort of war. Like, you know, no one wants that smoke. And eventually, if it went nuclear, then everyone's dead. Like, everyone is dead. You can't play around with them. So Zelensky, he would have been better off going to Russia and speaking to Putin and saying, look, let's just make a deal and get this sorted. Let's just stop the death. But he's not doing that, you know, because he's a puppet and he's being pumped up by God knows who. And, you know, unfortunately, it's probably
I can't believe that he's playing with people's lives.
Yeah.
These are supposed to be his subjects, and he's playing with their lives, and that I think is unforgivable.
Yeah.
I think it's unforgivable. To me, again, he's another war criminal. I mean, this is a man that once wanted fame that much. He went on their version of Dancing with the Stars and put tights on.
Well, he was doing that before he got into politics.
That's what I mean. This is how much he wants. He's an egomaniac. This is the lengths he'll go to. I just don't trust.
Francis, if you've got, like, you know, you've been really contributing to the show. Like, you know, I might not agree with what you're saying, but, you know, if you do want to come on and speak, you're welcome to come on. Just go over to YouTube, Brudsy Entertainment, and there's a link in the chat. You can click on it and you can come in. It'll bring you in. You don't have to show your face or anything, but you can speak. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Britain is very considerate country, and it was abused by this people. Okay. I don't know what people you're on about, but I feel like, you know, guys, no worries, Kitty. Kitty's doing a solo. Kitty. Sorry, Kitty's.
There is a storm.
Is there?
There's a storm here. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, we're getting some heavy rains, didn't we? We're getting some really heavy rains.
And I don't mean Sean Dyche coming to the City Ground. There is a storm brewing.
Oh, let's just quickly touch on that. Sorry, guys, we're going straight off. What a bloody massive mistake it was to get rid of Nuno, eh? What a massive mistake to get rid of him.
The moment he didn't come down for the second half, the moment he didn't appear for that second half, he was on the phone to Sean Dyche.
Yeah, but who would want to take that job?
I felt sorry for him because apparently he was sat in the not the dressing room, in his car, which couldn't move, with his head in his hands. I mean, I didn't like his football. I didn't want him at my club, but, you know, he is human.
Yeah, but Is it Galinakis? What's his name? Galinakis, the owner.
Marinakis.
Marinakis. Sorry. Like, what on earth was he doing getting rid of Nuno? Like, what did he expect was going to happen? Like,
I don't know.
Unfortunately, you guys are probably going to get relegated this season now. You're probably going to get relegated, and from going like it always happens, you know. One season, last season, you guys overachieved. No one could argue that.
No.
Everything just went right for you guys. You know, you had the right man doing a brilliant job that got you into Europe, and now it looks like you're going to get relegated. Like, you know, the manager, the owner, this Marinakis, he needs to stay out of it. He's done a brilliant job, but you need to stay out of it and let the football people do the football.
It went to his head, didn't it?
It definitely got to his head.
You know, like he was hearing the chants of you know, we love Marinakis, and at the end of the day, I think it went to his head, and he thought he was bigger than the club. Nobody is bigger than a club. I don't care who you are. Nobody is bigger than that club.
Yeah.
Players on the pitch, the manager, they need to gel and they need to come together to make a team. And Ange was never going to make it because, firstly, the team didn't want Nuno to go. So he's come in and he's already up against a wall, isn't he?
Yeah. That's the name of my channel on YouTube. Just click on that and go to it, Francis. I want to hear what you got to say. Because you're saying a lot of stuff in there. I want to not angry with you or anything like that. Just want to hear what you got to say. Because it's important for people to listen to what people are actually saying. You know. But sorry, Kitty.
Yeah, I was just saying that, you know, Ange was up against a wall from the moment he came in because the team really got on with Nuno, really got on with him, and a lot of them were posting stuff about his sacking. So Ange came in up against that for a start. Then he tried to change the style of football. So you've got the counter-attacking team that we had, and he tried to make them an attacking team. And it's just not. We've got injuries. We've got quite a few injuries, and yeah.
To get rid of the manager is unforgivable for me. Unforgivable. You do a job like that, and you like you know, what are you like? Anyone that like you'd be an idiot to take that job now because there's only one place you can go from last season is down. Like, you know, that's the only place you could go.
Well, the word on the street, let me just see if there's anything. Is it Sean Dyche?
Sean Dyche. Well, good luck to him, but you know, when you're facing when you've got an owner that wants to be that sort of in everyone's face, walking on the pitch, and like, you know, I get it, it's his money and stuff like that, but you know, you kind of got to just let the football guys do the work, man. For me, but sorry, we went off onto football.
Sorry, yeah, it's our passion, it's football.
Indeed, the mighty Reds done Liverpool over.
I saw that. I was so pleased for you.
Made every Arsenal fan happy. You know, because it gives them a good.
They're not having a great season, though, are they? Liverpool, they really are.
No, this is their fourth loss in a row. Which is
it's quite, you know, if I was a Liverpool supporter, I'm sure they'll be going back to Man City before you know it.
No, there's
them glory hunters.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot of that. To be fair, there's a lot of that. Let's move on to the other subject. I can't remember what it is. Oh yes, fake babygate. Let's go over to that one.
Oh wow.
Fake babygate. We got a video here. We'll put that on, and then Kitty can break it all down. I think this woman does break it down a little bit actually. Yeah. But we'll just watch a little bit of it, and then Kitty can break it down for us.
So this is Kira at her own gender reveal, and me looking like a fanny at a gender reveal for a doll.
So this is a TikTok creator that made up a fake baby. Kitty, explain what happened.
What happened was she told everybody she was pregnant. She had baby showers. But she was not allowing the father of the baby to go into appointments. But she was claiming on all these posts that him and his family were having nothing to do with it. They were horrible people. They stand by the fact that they weren't, and they just wanted to be part of this baby's life. I think they'd got together very, very quickly, and within a month, she'd said she was pregnant.
And did she? Am I right in thinking that she left? She left and then sort of came back saying that she was pregnant and stuff like that.
Yeah. There is a story that they met on Orange Day. Now, if you'd only understand that if you know about the orange thing. There's an orange parade, and everybody just goes out and gets drunk and whatever. Anyway, apparently this couple, they met on the Orange Day. Month later, she comes back. She says she's pregnant. She's having a baby. They do everything. Grandma buys £1,000 pram, goes out shopping for clothes, but never allows the partner to go to the appointments. Next thing you know, she's had the baby. No, she announced that the baby had a hole in its heart.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And she was obviously they were going to fix it after the baby was born. Anyway, she has this baby. Nobody knows about it. She just messages everybody, "Hi, this is Bonnie Lee," and that's the name of the baby. I was born at 2 a.m, blah, blah, blah. I'm on my way home with mummy now. And Kira, who's the girl that's had the baby, is parading this baby. And she's really parading it around. She's not letting anybody touch it because, one, the baby's got a hole in it on her heart. And two, she's got a cold. So they've got to be very, very careful about germs and everything. So don't touch the baby. Just look at the baby. She's posting videos as a new mum would. And then somebody goes, "That's a doll." And the dad's family start pointing out, it's a doll. But these dolls, they're those reborn dolls, are so lifelike. You can actually feed them.
Yeah.
And they actually make a mess of their nappies and things like that. And it took 4 days before people realised it was a doll. Why would a woman do that?
I think there's a lot of unstable people in this day and age, and you have to be really careful. Like, there's a lot of unstable. Do you know what? I watched this funny video of this guy. He said, if you're gonna date a woman and you go to her house, go to the toilet, lock the door, open up her cupboard, and have a look at all the medication that she's on.
I'd say, do you know what? I'd flip that and say the same about some of these men as well. But we know that men won't take medicine.
That's true. Chloe's just said that people that go through miscarriages and stuff like that can sometimes go down a bad route.
There is this story that they're saying that possibly she was pregnant and she lost the baby and got scared, and this is the result. But I just think it's just so crazy. We know this.
I think it may. You want to like. There's either two things. Either she's going through some sort of serious sort of mental health issues, and she's convinced herself, and she's got the baby, and she's done that or she's done it for attention. One or the other. She's either crazy, or she's done it for attention.
It could be the two together, because obviously there is that illness Munchausen's, which is the attention. They crave that attention with Munchausen's. But the thought of this girl literally faking a baby bump. She went to weddings. She went to christenings. And I mean proper baby bumps. So if it's all fake, she's faked the baby bumps as well. And it's just madness to me. But now everybody's posting on TikTok about it, and it's getting thousands and thousands of views. My thought is, if she is poorly, does she really need this? This outing? And that worries me a little bit. Are we sort of not being nice to somebody that's poorly? But at the same time, there's also a young lad that's been told that he was a father and he's now not. And there's that grieving process, I suppose.
For him, yeah, because it's quite a traumatic thing for a young man to find out you're going to be a dad and stuff. So, and then I don't know what the dynamics sound crazy anyway towards it all. I'm not sure. But talking about babies, I think we have one more video, and this is a video of two men that have adopted a baby. Well, they've got it straight from the mum, so I can only assume that one of them is a biological. One of them is That's normally how they do it. One of them's one of them's a biological dad. So let's watch the video.
So.
Oh no, not this one. And what's quite interesting as well about this one, guys, as well, is the comments. The comments is what's really interesting on this one. Let me just grab the video 1 second. Bum 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 bum. So many videos. So many videos. Here we go. Let's get you up. Let's get you up. Let's get you up. Bear with me, guys. Because surely someone, yeah. You just don't know what people are going through things at the minute.
Definitely.
Just have a look at some of these comments, guys. We don't quite need the sound, but yeah. So these two, I don't know if you can see the comments, but yeah, let's have a look and see. Oh, let's get that down. Don't need that up. Oh god, no, I blocked it. But some of the comments on these videos were quite savage. Like, this quite savage. I'm not going to ask you, Kitty, what you think about two men adopting babies and stuff like that. But, what I would say is, though, that, the natural assumption when people hear about two men adopting babies is that they're doing it for some sort of insidious reason. When there's actually a biological dad, a blood sort of bond with a child, I don't think he's going to be doing anything crazy. Like, so people are always going to say, oh, he's going to get bullied in school for having two dads, but people get bullied for everything nowadays anyway.
I was going to say, it's 2025. I think having two dads is the least of anybody's problem. I think the fact that they've got two parents, whether one's a man, what two are men, I don't think that's anything to do with it. I think the fact they've got two parents, they're doing quite well. This is what we're talking about. There's a difference between hate speech and free speech. We've actually done these stories where there are two gay men that have adopted children and then used them for horrible, horrendous things. Again, this is what happens. People do that, and then these guys are tarred with a brush that's their agenda. I don't think it is. I think it's lovely that they've got what they want. They've got their family unit. I think people need to stop thinking that their opinion is allowed to be out there. Because if that's your opinion, it's horrible. Yeah. Horrible. That's a baby coming into the world. Whoever the parents are, that's a baby coming into the world. That's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see in your entire life, know.
I think people just, I suppose it's kind of an English thing as well, just to assume the worst. Like, oh, he's at a park. What's he up to? Like, he's it's kind of how we are, kind of as English people. We just think the worst, like,
But the difference
but it's
between
not
English
right
people and Americans is this is the difference. We think it and just put our heads down and walk off because we're British and probably go and queue somewhere. Whereas Americans think it's their God-given entitlement to just literally voice it. And that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I couldn't think. Can you imagine? You open your browser to see what comments you've got because you're bringing your child into the world, and that's what you've got.
Yeah. I think, that's something that really does, like, especially the trans community, that really upsets them. The fact that, people naturally go, like, especially, with the toilet situation and stuff like that, people just naturally, like, it's like, oh, they want to get in there with girls and with biological women or whatever, and, for insidious reasons and stuff. And it's like, probably, like, couldn't be further from the truth, but it's
no, it probably isn't. But unfortunately, there are wrong uns out there. There are absolutely wrong uns, and where women and young girls are concerned, I'm always going to have an opinion, and I'm always going to voice it. And that is, until you've been a woman long enough, you don't know how scary it is. To be faced with somebody that looks like a man. Especially in a bathroom where not many people sometimes are coming in, it's just you and them. It's very, very scary. I do feel for the trans community. As I've said, my views are that there should be men, women, and maybe gender neutral toilets, and we have that with disabled toilets anyway. They're gender neutral. So just adding one more toilet might be the way forward on this. But these poor guys that are literally just bringing their baby home, because what they usually do, don't they? They put the sperm together, from what I've heard, and then it's sort of a race to the egg. So you don't know which one is the parent.
I mean, I'm not sure. I think the ones, maybe that's the thing, but normally it's quite like an organised thing. Normally they find a surrogate and then, and sometimes it's a relative of one, like one of the men chooses to be the dad and one of them chooses to sort of find a surrogate. Maybe it's a family member and they sort of.
I think with surrogates, you've got to be very, very careful because I know that they're not usually the egg donor as well. So you literally have to keep every part of it separate. So your surrogate is not the egg donor. You'll have an egg from somebody else, and then you'll have the sperm from whoever. So that nobody can really get that attachment. Because when you're pregnant and you're sort of 9 months carrying a baby, you do become attached.
Yeah.
And I would imagine sort of I'd have to pick a surrogate that was nothing to do with my family because they would then see that baby. And somebody said to me, when you're carrying a baby, your blood's going through that baby. So surely some of your DNA is.
Well, of course it is. If you're the woman, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So really, although it's not your egg, there's that DNA as well.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it. You've just gone, of course. And I'd never thought about it like that. And it's just one of those crazy things that you think about in those moments. But
Indeed.
I congratulate these guys. Don't do anything wrong to that baby. Do not prove them people right. Do not do anything. Be a great parent. Go on to have more children. And, did they say what sex the baby was?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest.
I mean, I pray that it wasn't a boy because, that's even more so because they'll be like, oh, that's exactly what they want. But I just think leave them to it.
Yeah.
It's horrible. People are horrible sometimes.
They are indeed. Guys, thank you very much for joining us today. We had a good old chinwag. We went from football, went from patriotism and all the rest of it, and then to surrogates and all sorts. Then toilet gates.
We forgot to tell you. We did forget to tell you though that Tommy Robinson's a Zionist.
Oh yes. Where is that video? Where is the old vid? Tommy, and I think we'll have to touch on this more tomorrow because I feel like it needs a. I'm gonna do a bit more. I'm gonna do a bit more research on the whole thing. I'm gonna do a bit more research on it, but I want.
I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
and talk about it.
Yeah, I do know that at the rally, a lot of the people were a lot of the so-called patriots that were there were unhappy with the amount of Israeli flags that were there because they were like, wait a minute, this is meant to be about Britain. Why are you coming with Israeli flags? And there was a lot of people that are quite upset about that. So people are... It's
that hidden agenda again, isn't it? We know that there's a hidden agenda sometimes, and this one was a bit blatant.
Yeah. And some of these far right guys, if they actually saw how brown some of these Jewish people were, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Honestly, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Iraqi and an Israeli. Honestly, because some of them are so dark, like you just wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, there was somebody that pulled down a Greek flag, wasn't there, instead of an Israeli flag, because they didn't know the difference.
Yeah,
and you're like. Really?
I saw that video actually. Did you send me that video? I saw that video.
So tomorrow we're giving you homework, everybody. We're saying go and have a look and then come back and we'll have a good old chin wag tomorrow about 2 o'clock.
In fact, let's make our punt. Let's make our punt for tomorrow's show. It's all going to be about what is a Zionist. Okay, guys. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about Tommy Robinson. He's gone over to Israel, the homeland, the motherland, is what he says in one of his videos. Are you happy? I want to hear from Tommy Robinson fans. Are you happy that Tommy is saying that he's a Zionist and he's going to the motherland, that he's picking an Israeli football team over a British team? Are you happy about it? Are you bothered by it? I really want to hear from some Tommy Robinson fans tomorrow, guys. The show is open. You can come in without your camera. You can come in, speak, and I just want to hear your opinion. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to get angry at you, even if you say a bad word to me. I'm going to allow you to have your free speech. Just don't go crying when I say something back to you, though. Don't go trying to get me cancelled.
We'd like to talk, if there are people brave enough, maybe some of these neo-Nazis that want to tell us where you want to stop. Where do you stop? the immigration ran. I would like to hear that. And if anybody, like you say, we'll cover your face. You don't have to tell us your real name. But I would like to hear from you as well.
We want to hear from you guys. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., guys, we've got a live show all about Tommy Robinson, patriotism. Are you happy? Do you feel let down by Tommy saying that he's at the motherland and all the rest of it? But yes, tomorrow, guys, 2 o'clock. Make sure you come in and join us. Kitty, you have a lovely day.
And you, my darling.